Story echoes beneath Chapter 1, an unearthing. The sun peeked through scattered clouds over Willowdale, casting long shadows on a patchwork of half-built homes. This new suburb, just a train ride away from the bustling heart of London, symbolized promise and prospects. Among the structured chaos of construction, Emily Carter paced nervously across the makeshift site office. A seasoned project manager at 32, she'd always thrived under pressure, but today presented a different beast. She stared at the vibrating phone, deadlines flashing angrily in her calendar. Just as she prepared to head out into the fray of hammering and drilling, her assistant burst in, face flushed with urgency. "Emily, you need to see this," he panted, gesturing her to follow. Minutes later, they stood at the edge of a large pit where workers gathered around a rusted metal object half buried in the earth. The foreman looked up as Emily approached, an indescribable concern etched across his face. "It's a bomb," he stated simply, the words slicing through the air. "It's from the war." The enormity of the situation dawned on Emily. Beneath the veneer of quiet progress lay an echo from the past, threatening to disrupt everything she and her team had built. Chapter 2, History's Touch. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, the perimeter around the bomb was cordoned off, and authorities descended on Willowdale. Emily watched as police cars and specialist vehicles lined the streets. In the center of this storm, Mark Evans, a bomb disposal expert, emerged, a figure of calm amidst the unfolding chaos. With salt and pepper hair and a sturdy demeanor, Mark exuded a confidence that tempered the rising panic. He approached Emily with a steady handshake. "We'll take care of it, Miss Carter. It's important to keep the area clear and the residents informed." Emily nodded, her mind already spinning. A plan needed to be devised to minimize disruption while ensuring safety. Hard hats moved in synchronized panic, whispering potential evacuation routes, but Emily's thoughts drifted to the neighborhood at large, the families about to move in, the promises made. Later, an emergency meeting with local officials left Emily feeling the weight of her responsibilities. Outside, the usually quiet streets buzzed with uncertainty. It was then she met Tom Willis, a retired history professor who ambled over, cane tapping rhythmically on the pavement. His presence was reassuring, like a well-loved book that survived the years. He introduced himself with a warm smile. "Might I be of assistance? I've some knowledge of local history. This town is more storied than we often remember." Story. His offer was not just of historical insight, but a bridge to understanding the roots of their predicament. Emily found herself intrigued by this connection to the deeper layers of the land they were reshaping. Chapter 3, Stories in the Earth. Tom's enthusiasm was infectious. The following day, he led a small gathering of residents and intrigued workers on an impromptu walk through the area. The bomb had become more than a curiosity. It was a catalyst for discovery. During the Blitz, Tom recounted, gesturing to the verdant surroundings, Willowdale wasn't just a sleepy village. It was on a flight path. Bombs fell but didn't always explode. He showed them old maps and photographs, pointing out where buildings once stood, now replaced by new streets bearing unfamiliar names. His tales wove together both the ordinary and extraordinary moments of life during wartime England, a tapestry that had been concealed beneath layers of asphalt and sod. As they tread paths that were once main roads, Emily listened intently. She saw beyond blueprints and project specs to the lives that once lived here, the fears they faced, and the resilience that carried them through. Meanwhile, Lisa Patel, a young journalist keen to write her big story, joined Tom's tours. Her presence was hard to miss, camera slung across her shoulder and notebook in hand. She interviewed elderly residents, piecing together a narrative that threaded the fabric of Willowdale's past to the present crisis. Her articles would eventually paint a picture not of fear but resilience, sharing tales of courage that had long been left untold. Chapter 4. The Breath of the Town. As Mark and his team worked tirelessly to neutralize the threat below, Emily juggled her roles. The immediate tasks felt small against the backdrop of history coming to life around her. Meetings and reports interlaced with community engagement that grew richer by the day. Willowdale came together in surprising ways. Residents old and new reached out to each other, sharing meals and memories. Local businesses offered support, ensuring those displaced by the evacuation had meals and places to stay. Through it all, Emily found solace in this newfound camaraderie. Mark, too, became a regular at Tom Willis's gatherings, finding moments of connection beyond his technical duties. Over cups of tea in the makeshift tents set up for evacuated residents, he shared stories from his own experiences in the military, underscoring a common thread of courage that bound them all. In the evenings, Lisa's articles buzzed with insights, lighting a new path for the troubled community. Her stories of bravery and survival from World War II intertwined with the headlines of the present. She captured the collective heartbeat of Willowdale, turning fear into a narrative of shared strength and hope. Chapter 5. Diffuse and Reflect Story. The sun rose on the day of the bomb's disposal, casting a golden hue over a town that still held its breath. A hush descended as residents gathered at a safe distance, eyes fixed on the site that had become a temporary epicenter of anxiety and anticipation. Emily, standing with Tom, Lisa, and others, watched as Mark and his team executed their delicate work. Tension thrummed in the air like the taut string of a violin. It was a moment suspended in time, the world holding its breath alongside them. In those tense hours, Emily contemplated the lessons of this unexpected journey. She realized that while buildings could be built and lives moved, there was a powerful, unyielding presence in what lay beneath, a history that shaped not just the land, but the people who walked upon it. Finally, a distant cheer rippled through the crowd. Mark emerged, signaling success. The bomb was defused. A wave of relief swept through Willowdale. Tears met with laughter, handshakes, and hugs woven tightly with newfound gratitude. Chapter 6. Legacy of Remembrance. In the days that followed, normalcy resumed. Residents returned, construction restarted, and Willowdale began to breathe again, this time with a deeper awareness of its foundation. Emily, inspired by the journey they'd all taken, proposed an idea that captured the essence of their experience: a memorial park at the site of the bomb's discovery. The company approved, and plans were set in motion. Soon, a small green space would honor what had been unearthed, while offering a tranquil retreat for future generations to reflect and remember. A plaque would tell the story, both of the war that had touched this land and the strength of the community that had risen in response. As the park took shape, Emily felt a sense of completeness. She had navigated a challenge unlike any she'd faced before, and emerged with a profound respect for the interconnectedness of past, present, and future. She understood that her role was not just about building homes, but also about nurturing a community aware of its roots. Epilogue: a community reborn. Months later, with the park flourishing and homes ready for families, Willowdale stood transformed. The echoes of the past had found their rightful place, shaping a stronger, more united community. Neighbors gathered under the park's trees, children playing where danger once lay hidden, and evening walks were filled with quiet conversations. Lisa's articles, now collected in a small book, were shared among the residents, each page a testament to their collective journey from fear to fortitude. Tom continued his walks, enriched by the stories they all now shared. As Emily strolled through the park one balmy summer afternoon, she glanced at the plaque, tracing the words with her fingertips. It read, "In memory of history's echoes and the strength found beneath." Willowdale thrived, its foundations nurtured by the deep roots unearthed in a chapter of unexpected remembrance. And with each passing day, the community moved forward, fortified by a past that had found its place among them.